911.
Cardiac arrest.
25-0.
We have a working fire.
Hold traffic, shots fired.
Now, tell me a little bit, interestingly enough, I was surprised. So your book, American Sirens, is kind of broken down into 5 books or segments. And I was shocked at how you spent the first 2 books of your work focusing on really the 2 main characters that you look at. One was John Moon, the other one was Peter Saffer. And I was shocked that John Moon was actually a Grady baby or an Atlanta native that ended up at Pittsburgh, becoming, I think, was he the first or the second class with Freedom House?
Yeah, he came after.
Okay. So would you mind telling me a little bit about, John Moon? And it looks like you did a lot of the interviews directly with him over a couple of year period. I mean, how does he, look back on his time with Freedom House? Tell me a little bit about him.
So like you said, John is a Grady baby. He was born in Atlanta, lived when he was very small in a neighborhood called Buttermilk Bottom. Anyone who knows anything about Atlanta, it existed between Boulevard and Piedmont, kind of in the south end of Midtown, north end of downtown. And it was an all black neighborhood that through the 1950s, though it was in the middle of Atlanta, did not have electricity, did not have running water. His mother died when he was young, and he had a younger sister, and his dad, who worked 6 days a week as a handyman, couldn't take care of 2 kids and didn't like the fact that his children were just sort of, sitting unattended all the time. So he surrendered them to an orphanage. They stayed there for years, and then when John was about 12, he was adopted by family he did not know existed that lived in the Hill District, and that's how he wound up in Pittsburgh. And his journey from there is, it kind of takes twists and turns, but, that was, things begin looking up for him at that point, although, it took him a minute to appreciate it. That was, obviously it was huge for him. And so he grows up in Pittsburgh in the midst of the civil rights movement. And like a lot of people from that era, they start thinking to themselves, all right, well, I'm watching Freedom Riders and I'm watching people march and I'm seeing demonstrations and I'm hearing Dr. King, and the world is changing. We're going to be the ones to change it. And I think he graduated from high school with the expectation that, yes, my parents could not achieve, they could not advance, but things are different now and I can. And his first couple of jobs, he found out, no, you can't. He looked around at the people in charge and he saw that there was no one there who looked like him. And so, he wasn't going to give up, but he was confused and I think frustrated because he really didn't know where to turn. He gets a job as an orderly, which, is everything you would expect it to be. I mean, yes, it is an entree into the world of healthcare. It awakens in him this sense of caring for other people, that he didn't know existed. He was not aware that he could be a caretaker, just like the way many of us, you get on an ambulance and you're expecting blood and guts and sirens, and then you realize, or you don't, very quickly, hey, I'm genetically made up to care, and I want to help people. And he felt that, but it's an orderly. It's not really what he was doing. He's pushing stretchers around the hospital until one night, in walk 2 paramedics and, show him the way, basically.
This is your host, Christopher. If you like today's episode, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, click the bell for notifications on future content. If you haven't already, check out our website, theufcshow.com, ways that you can support us and find us on other platforms. Until next time.